There seems to be more questions than answers after special counsel Robert Mueller filed a sentencing memo against President Trump's former national security advisor Tuesday night. CBS News Justice and Homeland Security correspondent Jeff Pegues has more on what it said.
President Trump's former national security advisor Michael Flynn was so helpful to the special counsel's probe that Robert Mueller recommended he not serve any time in prison. In 19 interviews with federal investigators, Flynn discussed his time during the Trump transition, providing firsthand information about the content and context of interactions between the transition team and Russian government officials. Flynn pled guilty last year to lying to the FBI about his interactions with then Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak.
Lock her up!
It was a stunning fall from grace for one of President Trump's earliest supporters.
I love General Flynn.
And his cooperation with Mueller could mean trouble for the president, according to CBS News legal analyst Ricky Klayman.
You don't get to be the person who walks away with no jail time unless you have offered a lot.
Flynn is now one of 5 Trump associates to plead guilty in the Russia probe.
The witch hunt, as I call it, should never have taken place.
Yet the president continues to call the investigation a hoax.
From what I hear, it's ending, and I'm sure it'll be just fine.
But prosecutors mention several ongoing investigations in the heavily redacted Flynn sentencing memo, suggesting the probe is far from over.
People have been speculating that Robert Mueller's investigation has been nearing its end for over a year. It is not nearing its end at this point.
Jeff Pegues joins me now from Washington. Jeff, always good to see you. The information Flynn provided that is so important to the investigation was redacted. You mentioned what this could mean for the president, but what does it mean for other people being investigated?
Well, anybody else under investigation has to be concerned because there is so much redacted there, and it raises so many questions about how many other investigations might be out there. Maybe as many as 3. We don't know. But, there has been some speculation that the special counsel is close to wrapping this thing up. But if you look at that document, it doesn't look that way. Now, maybe he will wrap it up soon. But again, looking at that document, it just looks like, it feels like there is a lot more to come.
Flynn underwent 19 interviews with Mueller's team. Is this high number of meetings unusual, or is it normal?
Well, it shows you that he's got a lot to say and has been able to cooperate quite a bit with the investigators, and that was pointed out as well in that sentencing memo. And obviously what we know now, based on these court papers, is that he's provided substantial information. And this was toward the beginning of this investigation, and that is something that the special counsel's office also factored into their recommendation for sentencing. So 19 is a big number. Keep in mind, though, that Michael Flynn has had, Michael Cohen, the president's former personal attorney, has had 70 hours of interviews with the special counsel's office. So he has cooperated quite a bit as well, but still 19 instances of interviews with the special counsel's office. That's a good number of information, a good bit of information that investigators obviously have been able to gather about this investigation, the Russia investigation, and perhaps other criminal investigations as well.
And Jeff, with that said, Mueller recommended no prison time for Flynn, despite the fact that he previously lied to the FBI. Can you explain why no prison time?
Yeah, it looks like he factored in Flynn's prior military service. Keep in mind, and I think some people forget this, he was in the military for about 30 years. He was a 3-star lieutenant general, so he rose to the top and was one of the top intel officials until he ran afoul of the Obama administration. So it looks like that was factored into this by the special counsel's office, but they also noted that, given his military experience, he should have known better than to do what he did.
All right, a final question for you. According to the Flynn sentencing memo, there could be as many as 3 more investigations. What could those investigations involve?
Well, as we noted, a lot of the information in that document is redacted, but looking at it and perhaps reading between the lines, perhaps some of the other investigations out there are related to Flynn's dealings with Turkey. He had some side business during the 2016 campaign where he's working with Turkish officials. So that could be one issue that investigators are looking into. And the other issue, of course, are his dealings with the Russian ambassador, who may have known about some of those dealings. But again, these are could-bes. You know, there is so much redacted in that document that it's hard to tell. But as we noted, obviously Flynn was able to give them a great deal of information through his cooperation.
All right, Jeff Pegues in Washington. Jeff, thank you.
My pleasure.